Hey, Jenna Pecor here with Bancroft Realty and with My Generosity Estate Sales. I'm actually sitting here in an atrium of one of the houses that I'm doing. It's a beautiful space. It's very unique. I've never seen anything like it before. It's an indoor plant atrium. And I wanted to do a quick response to a video that I watched earlier. So I'm going to post just a little bit of a clip and then we're going to talk about it.
Hey everyone, Spencer here with SB Mowing, and I have a really special yard for you today. My wife and I drove past this yard and saw that it was crazy overgrown, and we saw that there was a car in the driveway with a person inside of it. So I parked my truck and hopped out to go talk to the person. I was really hoping it was the homeowner, but turns out it was just a neighbor sitting there for a little bit. I'm not sure why he was there, but he said he lived 2 doors down. He did have some information on that property though, which was really helpful. He told me it's currently sitting vacant because the lady that used to live here got put in a nursing home and no one has come by to take care of it. The city ended up boarding up the windows because people kept breaking in and the lawn got out of control. There's also a stake right in the front of the yard with a big blue note that says it was in violation of city ordinance. And there were 3 specific violations. The first one was that the grass was over a certain height. The second one was that the curbs and the sidewalks were completely covered. And the third one was that there was standing trash on the property.
Okay, so this is not a story of elder abuse or anything like that. The reason I'm posting this particular clip is because this is about the house itself. And so if any of y'all are interested, this particular channel is, this gentleman goes around, he has tons of yard equipment, and he goes and mows some of the ugliest yards in a neighborhood and does it for free because he gets YouTube clicks out of it. So it supplements his landscaping business by doing it that way. And so it's a really cool channel if you love watching befores and afters, which I do. And he does really, really challenging landscapes and yards, lots of trash, lots of overgrown, grass and things like that. But the focus of this particular video is on the house itself. And as you'll notice in the beginning, he said, he asked one of the neighbors that was standing out front, does anybody live here? And they say, no, nobody's lived in it for a while because the lady is in the nursing home and her kids are supposed to come by and take care of the house. So this is a story that I heard frequently whenever I was in assisted living. And I knew that there were a lot of people that still retained ownership of their home even after they went into either an assisted living community or into a nursing home. And there's various reasons for that. But what I wanted to focus on today is why it's detrimental to leave a house completely unoccupied without anybody coming to take care of it. So this house in the video is, I'm sure you saw, not the best house in the whole world. It's just a small house. I'm sure she's probably, or whoever is the owner, has lived in it for quite some time. And I'm assuming here, these are just, kind of a conglomeration of stories that I've heard, but she probably lived in it in a long time. It's probably in her mind not worth that much, but she still wanted to retain ownership of it for whatever reason. Now, one of the reasons that I heard frequently, now I did not work at a skilled nursing community. I'd worked at an assisted living community, and there is a difference. One of the major differences between skilled nursing and assisted living is not only in the care that you receive, but most skilled nursings are actually Medicaid facilities, meaning that you have, once you get approved for Medicaid benefits, this is something that's included in your insurance benefits. And this seems like a very good idea. However, when you are a Medicaid patient, you can only make a certain income monthly, and it's very low. And you can only have a certain amount of assets, liquid assets, that are available to you at any one time. If you go above these amounts, these limits, then you no longer get access to Medicaid, and you also owe the state back money for the Medicaid benefits that you've taken. So Medicaid, a lot of people are not going to like when I say this, is kind of sets you up in a little bit of a prison system where you're kind of imprisoned to either not being able to make more money to support yourself or not being able to sell your house. So when you are Medicaid, and I'm not saying that this lady is or isn't Medicaid, I'm just saying this is one of the reasons I've heard why people let a house sit there unoccupied when someone still owns it. The house is the only asset that you can have, that the state allows you to have while you're Medicaid. So you could live in a mansion ultimately and make less money than whatever the limit is, and still be on Medicaid. But the second that house turns from an asset to a liquid asset, meaning that you sell it and now it's worth cash, that's when the state can come and actually either cut off your Medicaid benefits or take money back from your sale of your home, especially if it's over a certain amount of money. Well, in North Texas right now, houses, even the tiniest houses, are worth a lot of money when it comes to selling them on the market. So what people are having to do is to not sell their house in order to avoid getting kicked out of the Medicaid system and then having to pay it back. So one of the things that I want to do a video on in the future is trusts. And trusts and deeds are your best friend when it comes to real estate. But a lot of people that have lived paycheck to paycheck, that have not accumulated a great amount of wealth, think that trusts and are for people that have money, that have wealth, and are not for them. But a trust is simply a type of account that protects your assets from the state. And so a lot of people set up a trust whenever they are trying to protect mom or dad's assets. And that is what you can do if you are in one of these situations. But a lot of people just don't know, and they don't realize that it's actually a lot easier and cheaper than they would think. I'm actually going to interview an attorney on this channel to talk about this because I think it's something that a lot of people just don't realize they have access to. So another thing that happens is that mom or dad wants to live in a community, like an assisted living community or a nursing home or whatever, but just flat out refuses to sell their house. And this is detrimental for many reasons. For one thing, if you don't have anything to do with Medicaid, and let's say that you have, assets in retirement that are able to supplement your retirement, and you don't need to sell your house to be able to live, there's not a sense of urgency into selling your house. And maybe it's a mental thing that you think, well, I'll go get back there eventually, or maybe it's just it makes it feel like a temporary, spot to go to an assisted living community. It's just temporary, and maybe there will be a time when I go back to that house. But in the meantime, no one's living there. And so even when you have like a child that comes by and takes care of the house, as that's what happened in this house is, the kids would come by and check on the house, make sure that because he lives close by. But it's still difficult for kids to really maintain a house. If nobody's living in a house, it's very difficult to maintain a house. And the minute that you start letting a house sit empty, the day that you start doing that, the more days that accumulate, the more you're just losing equity every single day because things go into disrepair. You miss things like leaks. It's the same thing as if there's a bathroom in your house that you never go in and you don't realize that the spout started leaking, and then all of a sudden it's like you have a gusher in your bathroom. It's the same idea with a house, only in a larger scale. You don't notice all the things that happen from day to day, even if you have kids that come by and are supposed to be picking stuff up. And let's be honest, a yard can get out of control very, very quickly. I know that we've had a lot of rain lately. I mean, if I'm not out there mowing my grass every single week, it begins to look, the weeds grow so fast that I can't hardly take care of them. So a house really requires someone to be in it, to take care of it. And so what you don't want to do is have a house that starts off at $200,000, being worth something like $200,000, and then now there's a plumbing problem that nobody noticed, and now it's caused a flood, and now there's a foundation issue that nobody noticed the crack, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now there's a huge problem with the foundation. Or you have maybe a wasp infestation. You didn't notice that there was one or two wasps coming to the outside. Now you've got them living in the walls, or bees, or whatever. There's all kinds of things that can happen to a house, and now you are just costing more and more repairs and less money that you're going to end up when you go to sell the house. So it's really important that owners of their homes understand that holding on to a home, there's ways around things like Medicaid to protect your assets. There are, and letting go of that home, because what you don't want to do is let a house fall into disrepair, especially for a long period of time, because you're just wasting away all the investment that you've made over a lifetime. And I don't want to see that happen to anybody. So if you are really having a struggle with mom or dad wanting to let go of their house, or you just really had no idea that you could put a house in a trust, even if your mother has no other dime to their name and the only thing that she has is a house, that is still a very large asset. And trusts are designed for her just as much as they're designed for people that have have accrued massive amounts of wealth over their lifetime. So definitely want to help you out. And there's lots of resources available. There's title companies all over the place. There's one in particular that she is fantastic in answering questions about that. I'm going to have her on to interview her as well. But let me know if this is something that I can help you with. Again, I'm Jenna Pecor. I'm a realtor, and I'm also the owner of My Generosity Estate Sales. My number is 214-558-4410. And if you're interested in continuing watching that video, I am going to put the link in the description of this YouTube, of this particular video on YouTube, because if you want to see the end result, I'd love for you to see it. It's a really cool channel to watch, especially if you love beginning and ending, befores and afters and things like that. So anyway, have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.